You have an agent murdered. There's guns on the scene that come back to Fast and Furious, and it takes 1-2 months before you're made aware of the fact that this has happened?
Well, you're talking about my personal knowledge.
Yes.
There were other people.
You are the Attorney General, are you not?
I will
You are our
stipulate
chief.
to that.
You are our chief law enforcement officer. You have a dead agent.
No, but I'm saying that there were people in the Justice Department who were aware of the fact that those guns found on the scene were from Operation Fast and Furious. I personally did not become aware of that until February, but there were people in the department working with our DHS allies and people in local law enforcement and the FBI who were aware of that fact. Yes, I thought you were directing the question at just me as opposed to somebody else.
Well, you know, I've listened all day long, and I listened the other day when you were here also, and every time when questions are posed about Fast and Furious, we always get a different timeline or something similar, or we've had a letter called back for inaccuracies months after it was delivered to us. So now we have, you sit here and you tell us today in your opening statement how well your agencies are working together, yet you have an agent who is murdered, and it takes a couple of months before you're made aware as the Attorney General that the weapons that were left and allowed to gun walk were used during his homicide. So I go on to, if we have all of this going on, and I keep hearing you go back to, well, in the previous administration we did this or they did that. You know, I don't really care what happened in the previous administrations. What I care about is the fact that when I worked with agents in the previous administration as a law enforcement officer, I knew that when they went to get a wiretap, they had to produce the evidence of probable cause to their supervisor, who then had to sign off on that. So I listened today, as you said, well, they just signed off on a summary. So are you telling me that your supervisors sign off on wiretaps based on summaries without looking at probable cause?
No, that's not what they do at all. They are satisfied looking at the summaries that are prepared that probable cause does in fact exist, but they do not review these things with an eye towards understanding the full panoply, the full scope of the underlying operation. They only make sure that when we go to court, there is a sufficient basis for us to say that probable cause exists, that with regard to the telephone number that we want to get the wire on, that we can say that that particular phone was involved in the commission of a crime, not the full extent of what Operation Fast and Furious was all about.
So, you know, you've covered a lot of different areas today. I'm still waiting for an answer as to how so many thousands of guns walked. I've never been involved in an undercover operation that would allow such a thing to happen, and it's amazing to me that our own Attorney General's office is the one who allowed it to happen. But then you go in to say that
I did not allow that to happen, and in fact, as soon as I found out about it,
you have control over that agency, do you not?
As soon as I heard about it, I instructed that that policy, that practice had to stop. I was the first Attorney General to do that.